Welcome to Worldbuilding Notes. In this episode, to become king. In the 18th chapter of the second volume of The Golden Bough, James Frazer discusses succession in Latin royal families, which he concluded had to be matrilineal. Of all the legendary kings of Rome, not one was succeeded by his son, but Numa married Thacia, the daughter of Tatius, and Ancus was the son of Numa's daughter, Pompilia. Servius Tullius married the daughter of the elder Tarquin, and Tarquin the Proud married Tullia, the daughter of Servius Tullius. To Frazer, it appeared that the right to kingship was transmitted through the female line, even though that right was exercised by men. This is something that stands out much more obviously in Greek mythology. King Aeacus reigned in Aegina, but his son Telamon went a little bit to the north, to the island of Salamis, where he married the king's daughter and reigned over the country. Telamon's son Teucer migrated to Cyprus, wedded the king's daughter, and succeeded his father-in-law on the throne. And again, Peleus, another son of Aeacus, left his native land and went away to Phia in Thessaly, where he received the hand of the king's daughter and with her a third of the kingdom. And Achilles, the son of Peleus, was sent off to Skyros, where he got one of the princesses pregnant with his son, Neoptolemus, who went away to Epirus, where he settled and became the ancestor of the kings of that country. Pelops and his male descendants follow the same story of marrying princesses and becoming kings of foreign lands, and it all went much the same for Tydeus and his male descendants. These stories always have good plot reasons for all the never-ending intergenerational kingdom hopping, but to James Frazer those were the rationalizations of later Greek storytellers, trying their best to make sense of old stories from times before patrilineal succession became a thing in Greece. And all the tales that talk of an adventurer arriving in a foreign land, facing some dangerous challenges and ultimately winning for himself both a royal bride and a kingdom, are the only remaining account of customs that had once been real. I find these things very interesting from a world builder's point of view, because it's easy to end up treating patrilocality and patrilineality as essential and inseparable aspects of a patriarchal society. So a patriarchal society is just going to be patrilocal. A woman marries a man and moves in to live with her husband's family, and the society will be patrilineal. Any offspring this couple has will trace their descent through the male line. So if you have a society that's matrilocal, with a man moving in to live with his wife's family, and matrilineal, with the children tracing descent through the female line, then does it mean that such a society is matriarchal? You could interpret the royal families in a lot of the Greek myths as matrilocal and matrilineal, just as James Frazer had done, but you could hardly say that the society depicted in Greek myth is matriarchal. So there aren't just two options for grouping these societal features, there are actually 8. Trying to use all of them might end up looking contrived, but you could take any one of these options and make it perfectly fit into the context of your conculture. But getting back to a man winning a crown and/or a wife for himself, the Anatemian Libyans awarded the kingdom to the fastest runner. Among the old Prussians, candidates for the crown raced one another on horseback, and Danaus at Argos was said to have found husbands for his 49 unmarried daughters by staging a foot race, while Oenomus, the king of Pisa, had men race him on a chariot for the hand of his daughter Hippodamia. Sometimes the suitors had to race their prospective wives, like in the story of Atalanta, who agreed to marry only if she was outrun in a foot race. Hippomenes won the race and her hand by throwing down the golden apples, which she stooped to pick up. And during times contemporary to James Frazer, in some cultures of Central Asia, men would race their prospective bride on horseback in order to win her hand. But the contest to choose the man who will marry a princess did not have to be a race. In Mahabharata, it's related that Princess Draupadi, daughter of the king of the Panchalas, was only to be won by a man who could bend a certain mighty bow and shoot 5 arrows through a revolving wheel so as to hit the eye of a fish. But still, the thing that really stuck in my mind after reading The Golden Bough a year ago was the idea of young men racing to win a marriage to a princess and a throne. But a royal crown does not necessarily come with no drawbacks attached, so join me in the next video where I will discuss a possible gruesome fate that can meet a king.